Welcome back to another episode of the Scoop Around the Loop. It feels like it's been a really long time. Andrew, how is your week going? And do you have a trick or treat joke for us?
Hold up, time out. You need to slow your roll. Show off your wedding finger. It's been a long time because you got married and went on a honeymoon. I also think it's funny that you feel like it's been a long time since you've been married.
It's been
since
almost
you've been
3 weeks.
married,
Almost 3 weeks.
Just dragging along.
only 99.2% of marriages make it past the third week. So that's a stat I just made up.
What about like 2 years?
I don't know.
Once you pass the 3-year mark, you're pretty rock solid. But you guys have been living together for a while. You won't tell your grandmother.
I know about all of Jen's quirks at this point in time, so we're fine.
This is
Thomas, what did you think of my speech at your wedding?
Was great from what I remember.
Should I show the people your dance moves?
Let's do it real quick.
You were shooting webs at people, I think.
I do love Spider-Man.
So at Thomas's wedding, we're eating. They reluctantly gave me a mic, and we're eating dinner. And the DJ comes up and goes, "Is Andrew Springer here?" And I said, "Yeah, right here." She's like, "You're first." Oh, like okay. I thought I was going to be feeding off everybody else. So
why would we put you last, Andrew?
I thought maybe it'd be in the middle.
That doesn't make sense either.
And I could ping pong off your brother and your dad. I thought your dad would give a speech.
No, he's afraid of public speaking. So
that man didn't say a word.
He chimed in during my speech, though.
He likes to heckle. He doesn't just like be in the center of attention.
Come on, Tim.
Do you have a trick or treat joke?
Trick or treat? Do you want some more square feet?
There we go. I can't think of one right now.
You posted so many this last week.
Okay, well, why does the skeleton keep canceling the contract?
I don't know.
Because they have no skin in the game.
Oh.
I'm going to pretend like that was funny. Tyler, how's your week going?
I'm trying to keep it clean, guys.
My week is going well so far. Can't complain. Making some purchases for some home improvements and things like that. That's always kind of like a double-edged sword. I hate spending the money, but I'm looking forward to having a little bit better home.
What are you improving?
New carpet. We bought a bunch of new furniture. And I don't know if she who must not be named is watching, so I don't want to say everything.
Okay, fair enough. Sydney, how was your week going?
Pretty good. Slow.
Okay. All right.
Can I drop Isaiah's Halloween joke on you?
So Isaiah actually tells jokes.
Well, yeah. He learned.
He was a joke.
I went out to a friend's place in Elkhart this last weekend, and the old school Central Iowa tradition of telling jokes has, I think, officially died because kids don't tell jokes anymore.
Yeah, they don't even know how to speak to adults. They just like look at the feet.
Yeah, they say trick or treat and thank you, and then they grab one if they're a polite kid or a handful if they're not a polite kid, and then they run away. Great costumes, though.
Tyler, tell the joke.
Yeah, to tell his joke. Everyone knows the joke. It's just funny coming from his mouth, and he's finally mastered it to say it all correctly. Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. If you don't, I don't care. I'll put on your underwear.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Thomas, to your point about kids taking one or more pieces of candy, I know if they're coming to Sydney's house, they're going to get a bag full of candy. If they're coming to my house, they're going to get a bag full of candy. And I think my mom's house, that's right, Tyler, will get a bag full of candy as well. We're going to have a little piece of advertising in there, but, they're going to remember who gave them the candy. It's the realtor down the street.
Fair enough. Let's talk about.
Hey, little kid, you want some candy?
Yeah, I was gonna say, hold up. I don't know. Actually, when that actually comes out, I'm like, actually, I don't know.
I felt bad marketing to kids. You know what I mean?
They'll buy a house eventually.
And their parents need houses.
So, you're in Clive, right, Andrew? What is
Yeah, I live in Clive. Yeah.
When is Beggars Night? Are they doing the same as West Des Moines?
Pretty sure it's Friday. I should look that up actually because we certainly aren't handing candy out tonight. So
Yeah, I didn't think about that either. I thought Beggars Night was dead for everywhere. I thought that was
I believe it is.
it's tomorrow night as well for
It's-
Clive.
I believe it's dead pretty much everywhere, with a few exceptions. Like Bondurant did last weekend, Elkhart did last weekend. Like some of the smaller towns on the edges, but I mean, we all grew up in Central Iowa. How do we feel about the death of Beggars Night? For some people that don't know, is like a Central Iowa tradition. Like they did it the night before Halloween.
It's whatever for me, but like I'm just always used to it. So I guess as long as you have one night.
Yeah, growing up, I look forward to Beggars Night. I always thought it was. I remember growing up thinking it was kind of unique that we did it that way. And then Halloween, we spent just like watching Disney Channel Halloween movies like Phantom of the Megaplex.
I kind of like that it's on a Friday this year too.
I think it should just always be
that Friday.
That Friday, yeah.
No, Beggars Night is a one thing that no one else does.
Right.
We don't do it anymore.
I know.
Nobody else does it.
But to be fair, it started to hopefully like discourage people from doing hoodlum activities.
Yeah, it started in Des Moines, Iowa. Like that's
Yeah.
the crazy thing. In 1938, they created it to curb vandalism and mischief.
I posted a video about it last year. Maybe I should repost it saying my video killed Beggars Night. Now people just do hoodlum stuff 365.
Yeah.
Be Halloween.
Well, and if you remember correctly, I don't think your video killed it. It literally was it a snowstorm last year? Or was it just really cold?
I think it was raining.
And
I think it was a downpour. So this is an unofficial thing that the tradition of Beggars Night started when the Des Moines Register encouraged children to ask for tricks for eats to help the war effort by collecting candy door to door rather than engaging in mischief. It's kind of interesting. For World War II.
I like the tradition.
But most people, like most cities, did Beggars Night on Halloween night. And Des Moines is the only one that did it the night before. Correct?
Correct.
Interesting. Ultimately, I don't really care, but I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Sid. I do like the tradition of Beggars Night. I think it was unique and cool. And again, being a kid, you kind of got 2 days of Halloween celebrations.
Thanks, Rob, by the way.
Now that everyone
Let's go, Rob.
Yeah, I like that. Now that everyone else is kind of on different pages and stuff, just eliminating it and saying Halloween's probably the easiest for everyone, I guess.
But we do need to get back to the Central Iowa roots of telling jokes. Can we agree to that?
100%.
Why did the coach go to the bank?
He needed a quarterback.
Get his quarterback. That was always mine growing up.
Same.
Something else.
The joke I heard when I was a kid was, why did Hayden Fry go to the bank?
Oh my
Because he needed
God.
a quarterback.
Do you want to hear the one that I did when I was a kid?
Why did Dan McCarney go?
It was, how did it go? It was, if I'm American right now, what am I when I'm in the bathroom?
European.
Yeah. It was funny.
If I'm American when I go into the bathroom, and I'm American when I come out of the bathroom, what am I in the bathroom? Something else is happening this weekend that is of much debate of whether it should stay or go as well.
What's that?
The time change. Isn't that this weekend?
Oh yeah. We're falling back.
So
back an
I
hour.
don't know. I like this time change. This time change is always kind of neat. Like
Getting the extra hour.
Yeah, I feel like I've slept a whole bunch and it's 6 a.m. or something. That's always kind of cool. But obviously it gets darker quicker and things like that. So if we're getting rid of Beggars Night in Des Moines, Iowa, let's just get rid of time changes for the whole country.
Well, we could just, as a state, do it. Arizona does not have
Yeah, one thing, every time I ever have driven through Nebraska, you get to Ogallala there, and that's where the time changes. What for like high school sports?
I've thought about that too.
If they're playing a team 30 minutes to the east, like there's a game at 6 or 7 o'clock.
Well, I'm sure they make it pretty obvious, but I've thought about that too. Like we'd be like, hey, I need a little extra time. So then they just drive a little bit to get to different time zone. When I was a kid, I thought that's how it worked. I get an extra hour if I just go 20 minutes. Yeah,
I in my head, I feel like it's probably way more of a problem for people that live in that area than it actually is. But I always think like, oh, thank God I don't live this close to a time zone change.
Yeah, our mom took Tylenol when she was pregnant with us, so we have just questions a lot. Stuff like
that. Okay, choose your own adventure for the next topic. Do you want to talk about the fun haunted house stuff in Iowa, or do you want to talk about my new listing in Norwalk?
Haunted house all day.
We will talk about my new listing in Norwalk eventually.
Let's do your new listing first.
Okay. I got this bad boy listed in Norwalk right now. It is 1000 North Avenue in Norwalk, and I think it's in a pretty good location. This is right across the street from what is currently the library. I will give you a heads up and do my due diligence as a listing agent and tell you it will not always be the library. It will eventually turn into City Hall, but there will still be a park directly across the street from you, a dog park directly across the street from you. You're within walking distance to Main Street, so you're within walking distance of Fairway Franks and 804 Main. I hope I didn't just mess that up. You're within walking distance of high school, middle school, so you're just right in the thick of things. If you're really vibing on a Friday night, you can literally sit in these people's back deck and hear the Norwalk football game going on.
That's also right on the parade route, 4th of July. So
you are right on the parade route. That is correct. There's a farmer's market that goes on in Main Street, so you're right next to that as well. It's in a pretty good shape as well. We got a pre-listing inspection done on this, and the inspector literally told me I am not quite sure I have that much to put on this report. So it's ready to go. 315. Have you guys got a chance to check this out? Any thoughts that I missed?
Oh, I have thoughts, Thomas. For one, fun fact, Fairway Frank. Frank is my neighbor who I'm looking at. The house I'm looking at right now, that's his cousin, who Fairway Frank is named after. Fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
2, this is the easiest address ever to remember. This is like
1000 North Avenue. I sold this to these clients about 3.5 years ago. And you're right. Out of all the addresses of my clients, I don't memorize all of them, but I have this one memorized.
Yeah,
I like that the street to the south is South Avenue. Also.
Yep.
They just made it super easy.
I think that also shows how much Norwalk has grown too. That those are
the cross street that's right here, just to the, what would that be, the west? It's Center Street as well. So it's on the corner of Center and North.
North, Center, South, all right there.
My next question, if a buyer does like to engage in tomfoolery 365 and not just on Halloween like we were talking now, living across from City Hall, that's probably not the best place for them. I'd imagine there's like a heavier presence there.
Also, in front of what is going to be City Hall, what is currently the library, is a nice little pond, too, that they stock with fish.
And the site of Andrew Springer's kids' birthday parties for
many years. That pond. Do they
at the pond?
Well, at that train park.
Yeah, the caboose.
The caboose.
I have plenty of stories about the caboose, but they're not good for me to live stream about them. So.
Well, I was going to say, if you have teenagers and you want to buy that house and you just want them to have a place to go do things that aren't above board, like that's where you could go. Do they still have the ice rink there?
I believe
in the winters
up during the winter, yeah.
And in the 4th of July, they have a huge party festival in that park too. So, what I really like about this home too, I really appreciate Madden Construction.
Mm-hmm.
because they'll take home, they'll take lots in the middle of a city that don't have a lot of variance isn't the right word. Maybe it is, like where you don't have as much room to build kind of newer homes, and they get stuff that fits and looks nice and is affordable. And I think they did a really good job here. I mean, it's snug. It's a snug lot. You can see in the one picture, the lower left, that fence line is right up next to the house. But I think the price is a good price for what you get in the home, and I think the price reflects the lot too. And again, you're walking distance to everything. Not everything, but a lot of things to do.
And on the lot,
not walking distance from Jordan Creek Mall, but you are walking distance to Fairway Franks.
On the lot note too, it's just under 0.2 acres, which if you compare it, there is currently 2 developments in Norwalk right now that their average lot size is what I would consider a decent amount smaller than that.
Yeah.
So it's a good.
Yeah, you see a lot of 0.1 acres now.
Yeah. So it's not bad. And the basement is insulated and ready for someone to finish and add equity too would be another thing that I would point out. There's an egress window down there. I believe it's stubbed for a bathroom.
So this looks like a good spot for people in your demographic, mid-20s.
Gen Z.
They can grow with this house too. Once you get that 5th kid, you can build a bedroom down in the basement.
5th?
4th.
Hey, Sydney, why don't you ask that question we were talking about yesterday? Because you got a good reaction, I think, on your Snapchat.
What's the question?
People being able to afford a house.
Can Gen Z, because we hear that a lot, home ownership is too unattainable right now for Gen Z.
I've had a lot of yeses and a lot of nos, but I also think.
What do you guys think?
Depends on what your definition of affordability is.
And how bad you want it. I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to owning a home isn't all that important to you. And if that's the case, then it's probably not all that affordable. But I remember when I was first, I really, really, really wanted to own a home. And so I worked like 3 jobs. I don't know, 3-4 jobs at a time sometimes, working overnight and saved up a bunch of money to make it affordable. And when I did buy a house, it was affordable because I was grinding my face off. You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't know.
And I've seen Sydney make a video about this. I've seen Brady make a video about this too. I think there's a lot of stuff that's in younger buyers' heads that's holding them back, quote unquote, that's not actually holding them back. The 20% down payment thing is basically a myth. I think a lot of younger buyers think their credit score is way worse than it really, really is. Or at least if it is bad, when you're younger, it's not that hard to get it fixed to a point where you'd be able to get approved. So at that point, it's just how much are you making? And with how much you're making, does the monthly housing payment make sense for what you want to buy? I mean, it depends.
I feel like they have no knowledge on it. They don't want to talk about it because they think that they're just going to get shut down too.
Well, when you have roughly 5 to 10 articles written every day about how unaffordable housing is, like that's all they see on the news.
Or listening to your parents. I mean, I'm sure Andrew has a great rate. Like
Andrew?
Parents say, like
I bet Tyler has a better interest rate than Andrew does.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like I don't think that I'm not picking on necessarily Gen Z, but I think Gen Z is the one that has had the access the most to Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram, where you see all these things. You think, oh, my first house needs to be the big one. It needs to be the one that I'm going to be in for a long time. In reality, real estate's a game, and you're either winning the game or you're paying somebody who's playing the game and winning. So do you want to rent for a long time? You can get a big, nice, shiny apartment, townhome that's a rental, and have an affordable payment, or you can have your own piece of ground that isn't necessarily where you want to end up, but it's going to allow you to stair step up into the next thing. And so to that point, I actually refied this year out of a really good rate because I had money I needed to move around, and I had so much equity in my house because I've played the game. I've fixed my house up, I've paid down my mortgage, that I can make these moves. And you don't get equity if you don't own. And so if you're just waiting till you're making more money, so you'll wait 2 or 3 years to make more money to get the house you really want, you're just throwing your money away. But if you don't want to buy because maybe you don't want to be in Des Moines, Iowa, or like you don't want to be, or you don't know if you're going to be wherever you are for a long time, then I get that. But the beautiful thing about real estate is it always appreciates with time and money. There may be dips here and there, but over time it always appreciates. It's the only thing in the world that you could use and value goes up.
The chart always goes up.
And so that's what I think people, it's not, can Gen Z afford housing? It's does Gen Z understand how the real estate game works? And I don't think they do. And that's on us. That's on us to educate people.
Well, I think that even started the generation before, because even my generation, I don't think a lot of my friends necessarily wanted to buy what I would call like a starter home.
Right.
I mean, because the first house my dad ever bought was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house with a 1-car garage.
I mean, you could get a beat up home, put equity in it, fix it up, and then live in it for a while. I'd rather have a crappy house and put equity in it than throw money down the drain in an apartment.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just comes from perspective too. Like crappy to who? Someone in a 5,000 square foot house, or it's not crappy to people who live.
I've never owned a home. Or you know
what I mean. So like I think that's it's a perspective shift of like,
for sure,
$200,000 800 square foot home in Des Moines, Iowa is better than how 90% of the world is living.
Or you can take that crappy home and fix it up too if you really wanted.
Yeah, and I think I agree. And sorry.
Go for it.
I was going to say, like Tyler says, I think it is perspective. Like some people may not care very much about it. We're just telling you probably should. Like you don't need Starbucks every single day going to work. Like that kind of thing. Like I believe that in 5 years you will look back and say, like, if you just rented for 5 years, that you look back and say, man, I wish I would have figured it out. And
well, and on the note too of like things that I hate the Starbucks example. I don't want to call you out, Andrew, but the coffee isn't what's killing younger people. The thing that I see that's killing
it's the habits of
right.
Convenience. It's paying for convenience.
But the two things that I always look at with people that haven't bought a house yet that's really holding them back is you don't need to get a loan on a car when you're that young. If you can't afford to buy a car cash when you're that young, or honestly, like I think if you're that young, save the monthly payment and lease it instead. That's a whole different argument, though. I think a lot of people are over renting. Like they're getting into what I would consider luxury apartments, or they're renting houses and spending a lot of money per month when they could be getting into a cheaper apartment and saving a lot of money. Would be the two things that I would point out.
I think a lot of the people that we know, I think Tyler's a good example. His first house sucked. Like, am I wrong? I mean,
but Tyler, your first house,
it was $120,000 or something like that. Like,
and Tyler house hacked it, moved out, turned it into a rental, and then sold it.
$1 on it. Right.
Yeah.
Did you fix it up?
Mm-hmm. And then he and Hannah got a Beaverdale house, a house in Beaverdale. That was their house that they were able to save up and do things while they were there. And then they're able to hold on to it when they moved to their other house and then cash flow it. And they made a bunch of money on it when they sold it. So it's just the quicker you get in the game, the quicker you can build your net worth. But what I was going to say when I started that was, I think if you look at all the people who have played the game, they didn't start with the big fancy home first. They stair stepped their way up. They allowed the bank to fund their rise, so to speak, in their net worth. And it just puts you in a position to have something tangible to hold on to, versus throwing money, it's nice. This big townhome's nice. I'm renting it. It gives you something tangible, the end of 3-4 years, that you can buy a house with, or you can just use as leverage to do other things in your life. So
do you want to own something in the future? I think that's the question.
Mm-hmm.
With your name
Yeah,
on it.
yep. And if you're saying no, I would just encourage people to say no. I think I do want to own something. I do want to have a piece of ground, because we make fun of the boomers, right? That are, you see all the videos of them dancing around because they bought their house for 2 peanuts and are selling it for $1 million now. Like, that could be you in 30 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it definitely could. And I would challenge people that think that they're never going to buy a house to, if they're never going to buy a house, you got to start thinking about how you're going to save and build wealth other ways. Because if you don't start saving more aggressively, these people that do have homes, you're going to get outpaced as far as total wealth pretty quickly.
Yep.
It's just like buying term life insurance versus buying whole life insurance. Like, term life insurance can make a lot of sense if you're taking advantage of the savings you get every month, but a lot of people don't take advantage of those savings they're getting every month. So,
yep.
All right, so let's talk about properties that we would never recommend people to buy because they're haunted. I'm going to run through the first off, there's a whole lot more quote unquote haunted houses in Iowa than I thought there was. Turns out Iowa is kind of notorious for having a lot of haunted properties. I'm going to run through these, and you guys at the end can tell me if you've ever heard of them. And then when we're done, you can tell me which one we're going to take a Springer Brothers trip to go stay overnight. Does that sound cool?
Yeah.
All right. So the Malvern Manor is an old hotel that was opened in the 1800s to help with railroad visitors, then eventually was sold and turned into a private residence that became a nursing home / group home for the mentally disabled. That's going to be a common theme here. Yeah. They're also, this manor is going to be film location for a movie that's coming out that's called Control Your Fear, which is an interactive ghost hunting film that's shot entirely at this manor, where viewers become a part of the investigation by following different people's that were there that night's point of view. It has 3 different people that were there to film it, and apparently they uncovered some very chilling moments as they made the crew question their beliefs. Some of the crew believed in ghosts, some of them do not. You guys ever heard of this one?
No.
Yeah, apparently having a house for mentally disabled people, turns out it makes it haunted or just creepy in general.
Yeah, and I mean, we should I think the reason for why a lot of these old mental institutions are haunted is because of the way the patients were treated back in the day.
Yes.
And these people, like, if you were just graced with bad luck and had schizophrenia, you were likely just like locked in a room and fed once a day type of thing back in the day in these institutions. So I don't know. I'd probably come back and haunt the mug out of those places too. I'd be the worst. I'd be such a bad. I'd be terrible.
All right, the next one's not a house, it's just a statue. This is the Black Angel statue, which was made in honor of Ruth Ann Dodge. It's a memorial in Council Bluffs. It was built in 1919 to honor General Grenville Dodge's wife, and it was inspired by her deathbed vision of an angel offering her the water of life. It's sculpted by a world-class sculptor, same artist behind the Lincoln Memorial, yada, yada, yada. The artist's life ended tragically after decades in an asylum. It has a haunted reputation. Locals claim that the Black Angel statue is cursed. If you touch it, your life becomes cursed. There's multiple stories of people trying to take photos of it, but their phones died, or the photos ended up missing when they got home. And then apparently the stairs that lead up to it, the count changes. I don't even know what that means. We're going to have to go visit that if we want to figure out how that happens. But yeah, it's right next to the Fairview Cemetery in Council Bluffs, Iowa. You guys ever heard of this one?
Yeah, I've heard of this one. Those people that their phone died, they like had to sprint to get up there because their phone was on 1%, and they were ready to take the photo, and then their phone died. But I have heard of this one.
No one else? I'm stumping you guys today. Oh. This one,
I don't dive too deep into this stuff.
This one, I think it's just cool for the architecture aspect of it. So this would be my vote. This is the Squirrel Cage Jail.
Squirrel.
Built in 1885 on the site of a former church morgue. So that was their number one bad step. Also in Council Bluffs. So we could do a 2-for-1 if we want.
Well, that's the other bad step is being in Council Bluffs.
It is one of only 3 revolving jail cells left in the United States, and it's the only one that is 3 stories. So it's 3 stories of rotating pie-shaped cells. So the jailer would be in the middle of the building, and then the cells rotate around it. It has persistent hauntings. Staffs and visitors have long reported footsteps, voices, and moving doors, with one jailer refusing to live on the top floor due to the nightly disturbances. It has paranormal fame. It is now a museum. It's been featured on Travel Channel's Most Terrifying Places and Ghost Adventures, Serial Killer Spirits, drawing investigators who have captured eerie EVPs and shadowy figures on film. I've never heard of this one until I did this research.
No, I haven't either, but that's sweet. That's kind of cool.
But like I said, just the architecture of it alone, I kind of want to go check that one out. I don't. Council Bluffs is normally not.
I think our jails are too nice now. We need,
we need more
to get back.
Squirrel Cage jail.
Yeah, maybe we have less crime if people are like, I don't want to.
We need more moving pieces.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I think the issue to having 3 levels of 3 jail cells, is that what you said?
Yeah,
I think there's probably too many people committing crimes for prisons like that to do much good.
Yeah, that's true.
That looks scary. I'm good.
This is I was hoping this was on the list because I've always go ahead.
The Edinburgh Manor, Edinburgh. I don't know how to pronounce it. The town of Edinburgh was once the Jones County seat, with land originally deeded in 1840 for courthouse use, later repurposed as the county poor farm to house the poor, disabled, and the mentally ill. So they got a 3-fer there, is what they used to do with this farm. Residents worked in exchange for food and shelter, and over 230 deaths were documented on this property during its operation. Construction of the manor in 1910 to 1911, the manor was built on the same site to house the incurably insane, poor, and elderly, and remained active all the way up until November 2010. The facility is frozen in time. When the facility closed, personal items, documents were left behind, giving the manor the eerie stillness and reputation for deep history and mystery. I believe this is the one. No, this was the one. The movie that's being made. It's being made by a bunch of TikTok people. The Malvern Manor. This one is a site you could go visit. I believe this is one of the ones that offers an overnight stay. And then I think the next one also offers an overnight stay. The next one, the one I say for last, is probably the most famous one in Iowa.
Yeah, so this is I don't know, 10 minutes away from Hannah's grandparents' house in Monticello, Iowa. It's just on like the other side of the interstate, which Monticello is now the county seat of Jones County. That's where the Jones County Fair is at. And every Thanksgiving, I always mention this because the day after Thanksgiving, people always try to figure out what to do in Monticello, Iowa. And I'm like, well, let's go over to the Edinburgh Manor, and no one ever wants to go. I've driven by it because a couple of times we brought Samson and we stayed at the American, which is in Anamosa. And this is kind of a 1 minute long detour to drive by this place instead of going to the interstate. And it was at noon the day after Thanksgiving. I mean, granted, I was the only one out in the area, but that place looks spooky. I thought I would pull up to it and get out the car. I didn't even pull down the driveway of that place. And just
are people just creeped out by old architecture? Is that what it is?
Yes. Who just wants to
and just the stories? I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. And
people who like scary stuff are weird.
We've often talked to clients that don't want to buy a house that one person has died in, and we think they're kind of crazy for that. I do think that 230 would kind of be a limit for me. I don't think I would want to buy this manor. So, all right. Tyler, can you guess what the last one's going to be?
The Basilica Axe Murder House.
I know that one.
Yep.
Villisca, that's what it is.
It's probably the most notorious one. It was the host of a 1912 massacre that claimed the lives of Josiah, Sarah Moore, and their 4 children, and 2 visiting girls. It is a crime that remains unsolved to this day and is now one of the most infamous in U.S. history. The neighbor found the family dead after noticing that hadn't stirred that morning, which is a very 1912 thing to say. The townspeople soon flooded the scene, tampering with evidence, which is not cool. And it is an enduring mystery to this day. Theories range from a jealous former employer, traveling minister, or just a plain old roaming serial killer. Yet no one was ever convicted, and the killer's identity remains unknown. It was restored to its 1912 condition. The Lisca House Murder House now operates as a historic and paranormal attraction, drawing investigators and visitors hoping to experience the echoes of that terrifying night. And in case you didn't get from the name, they were all murdered by axe. So it's especially gruesome. And the kids were really, really young too. So it's really sad.
Villisca Anthrax Murder House.
But this is another one that they offer an overnight stay. So something to think about.
Yeah,
Andrew, you've heard it? You heard of this one?
That's the one I've heard of.
Yeah.
I just step up for a second. Tyler, did you talk about your in-laws funeral home?
Business choices. Yeah, I had a couple notes about some other haunted things that I was.
Do your in-laws own a haunted place?
Depending on which cousin you ask. So this axe murder house, I've always been interested to go there. Again, I'm scared, but I'm also like interested in history, and I just think like, and Iowa, like I wouldn't mind going here. I think that'd be a good piece of content. But don't get me wrong, it's not because I'm like tough and not scared.
I want to look this up because I believe stay overnight. I'm gonna look this up.
I'm not down to stay overnight. I want to visit at noon.
They used to when I was in high school. If you completed the whole stay overnight without leaving the building, you got it for free.
I could never.
I feel like they probably mess with you then or something like that, like on purpose.
Okay. It doesn't look like that's a policy still, unfortunately.
I mean, Stuff You Should Know, one of like the most famous podcasts in the world, Crime Junkies, both of them have done stories on this. I personally think it was a roaming minister from the stories I've heard.
I also am kind of on the same page.
I think back then, anybody, it was easy to call yourself a minister, and I think that was a disguise that a lot of people put on back then so they could get away with stuff.
Good way to gain trust.
Yeah, just say, hey, I'm not a roaming serial killer, I'm a minister. Seriously, I think that's
ew.
I think as far as which one I think as a team we should go visit, I think we should go check out the Squirrel Cage Jail.
That would be fun. I have another proposition though.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of the Farrar School?
Yeah, how the heck? I actually looked that one up. I don't know why.
That would be like a 30-minute drive or a 25-minute drive instead of a 2-hour drive to Squirrel Jail.
I don't know why that missed my slideshow because I swear I made a slide for that one.
Farrar School is, Bondurant Farrar school district. There used to be a big schoolhouse. There still is a schoolhouse, and it is.
I may have talked about this. I can't remember because it was around. I want to say it was around this time last year. I walked through a house for somebody. Like we had out-of-town buyers, and they wanted to see this house that was built in the 70s.
You talked about this last year. It's still a good story though.
Did we? Okay, so built in the 70s. I didn't know anything about the history of it. I hadn't really looked into that, but it was a house that was we thought was going to get an offer, and my buyers were in Texas, and they're like, hey, we trust you to walk through it and tell us what you think. And if you think it's something that we need to offer on, we'll offer. And so I went, I was by myself. I mean, it's just 11 o'clock kind of a thing on a regular day. Weather was fine. My stomach hurt so bad walking through that house. Like there was just so many weird things.
You had to have a bowel movement, or you were
like sick to my stomach. Like there was a spiritual battle going on in that house. And I remember like, man, I just do not feel well in here. And I was like, I don't know if my buyers are going to be freaked out, if like they think that I'm a freak because I feel this way. Like,
was it a gas leak?
No, there's just, I just don't know how to describe. There's just a lot of weird things that I felt in my spirit that were like off in this house. And so I communicated that to them, and they were kind of like, hey, you mean like psychedelic stuff? And I'm like, that's a good way to put it. And come to find out, like the guy who built the house, I won't go into that. Like, I won't go too far into this because the guy's attorney. So the guy who built the house, we have some family history with, and he was into that stuff. And so that makes a lot of sense actually. Because when I left, like my stomach, like instantly, I'm driving down the street and all that stress I felt in my spirit like went away. So I'd be curious. I'd like to reach out to the owners of that house now and say, hey, have you ever encountered anything like out of this world, any paranormal stuff? Because I definitely felt it when I was in there, and I haven't had a feeling like that in many homes at all, actually. So
Jen swears that her childhood home, and I don't know how she's made this connection, but she swears she was haunted by a ghost named Johnny, and she swears it was Johnny Gunn.
Okay.
I think Johnny's still alive.
Man,
this is a Halloween episode.
Even Johnny Gosh would avoid Sergeant Bluff.
Right, that's what I told him.
Like, if Johnny Gosh was on the run, he would just.
Well, allegedly, that's where he went after he was kidnapped. That's where they took him. Was up to that area.
Oh, I thought you said Sergeant Bluff specifically.
Well, like to Sioux City, that area. So
maybe she's right. I don't know.
Well, the fact that people don't know about Johnny Gosh and they live in West Des Moines is insane.
That's another episode. There's also a documentary on Netflix that you guys can just watch.
Several. I got a couple more haunted house stories. One of them pertaining to a showing that I kind of did similar to Andrew, and one that is real life. I'll go to the real life one, or the real life experience one. Andrew hinted at it. My in-laws, the Woodhouses. If you know anyone from Carroll, I almost guarantee they know who the Woodhouses are. Bob Woodhouse runs one of two funeral homes in the town, the non-Catholic funeral home. He is always sure to point out to me that the other one's a Catholic funeral home, and there's kind of a rivalry, I guess, between the two. But the funeral home is right off like the kind of the main drag in town. And growing up, my mother-in-law and her family lived above the funeral home in like a condo. So that's kind of creepy to think of. But the house next door, I don't know, I might be getting some of this kind of wrong, but the house next door is an old Victorian. It's on like the list of historic places, or the register of historic places and all that. It's been restored by Grandpa Bob and Grandma Glow before she passed away, and they were living there. And like Grandma Glow would have like tours come through to look at like the architecture and the details and all this stuff in this house. But Hannah and some of her cousins have reported that there's ghosts in the powder room, and they're not sure. They're not sure if it's like ghosts from centuries past or if it's their grandma. They all feel that there's like a ghost in that powder room, which is like upstairs. It's like and when Grandma Glow was still alive, she had decorated the whole room with these little, Hannah calls them lady head. Hannah has a couple of them in our built-ins upstairs, but just like these little like women's heads. And like apparently those things like move around and look at you and all that stuff.
Ew.
I think it's just,
I don't believe
playing jokes on each other.
Yeah, I don't believe that house is haunted, but across the street, there's now it was turned into a bed and breakfast, but it used to kind of be a hotel back in, and again, I don't know if it was like when my mother-in-law was a kid living in Carroll or even before then, but it was kind of a similar thing to the Villisca axe murder, where there was like a double murder one night and everyone thought across the street was haunted for the longest time. And then you pair with living above a funeral home. It's just kind of spooky vibes over there to me. I haven't really felt anything weird, but I also haven't been in the house alone by myself at nighttime. So I don't know. And like Grandpa Bob isn't a good person to ask about because he's been a mortician for 60 years. He has a different, way of thinking about that type of stuff, truthfully. But we've had, when we go up there for Easter, we'll usually have dinner in the funeral home in like the family banquet hall, and Grandpa Bob will always make it a point if there's a funeral the next day, because the body is probably prepared, ready to go in the elevator right next to where we're eating. And again, that whole family just kind of looks at it a little bit differently because they're used to
thank you.
outside, not really lifestyle. It kind of freaks me out a little bit. And then my next story, when I first got licensed, I just go around and like look at houses, not even for clients, just to, I don't know, look and make sure my lockbox worked, I guess. But I was at this house over behind the Capitol. It was on Capitol Avenue, I remember. And it was an old 1890s, 1900s house. One of those things where like they had a staircase and a closet going up to the attic to the finish, to like a usable attic space. Whole house was empty besides a handful of different things throughout the house. It was like a bank-owned property. And I was just going through it. Like that's part of the reason why I showed it was because it was empty. So I wasn't bothering anybody to get them out. But anyways, whole place is empty and I go upstairs. And again, if you're familiar with like my social media, I was filming stuff and all this. I was going to do like, you can own this home for $1,000 or whatever. I go upstairs to this finished attic. The only thing of somewhat significant in this house is in the finished attic, and it's a rocking chair, like an old creepy wooden rocking chair, a side table, and a candle, like lantern thing. And as soon as I saw that, I bolted down the stairs. I don't know, like if my mind was playing tricks on me, but when I looked at it, I could have sworn that candle was like melting, aka like it had just been burning. Like it had melted wax on the side of it. I can't I didn't go up and look to double check, but as soon as I glanced at that candle, and again, it was kind of that feeling Andrew was talking about, like just kind of weird. And I kind of have like chills right now talking about it, but I've never ran so fast in my life out of that house. I don't know if I locked up, truthfully. Just ran so fast out of that house. Because to me, someone had just been in there or was in there while I was in there.
The rocking chair wasn't moving?
The rocking chair wasn't moving, but there was a candle next to it, and the candle looked like it had been lit recently.
That's so weird.
Which, in my head, more than likely, I just saw that part, but all the other stuff together drew me to that conclusion, but I don't know.
Did you leave showing feedback saying maybe get rid of the creepy rocking chair candle?
I do remember leaving feedback like I was pretty spooked out about this house. I don't know what it was.
So my one paranormal activity real estate story, I had a listing. This is actually one of the first listings I ever had as an agent. And because of the way the clients' lives were going, they needed to upgrade quicker than they planned. Anyways, they were selling this house only after owning it for 2 years. The previous two owners had only owned the house for roughly 1 or 2 years too. So the buyers of this house thought that was weird. And to make them feel more comfortable, they wanted something in writing from my sellers saying that the house had never had any paranormal activity in it that they had experienced. So I had to write up the weirdest addendum ever just to say sellers have never experienced paranormal activity in such and such address.
We should have John on here, our cousin John, who cleans up deaths, cleans up crime scenes. Because I bet he's heard of stories.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I'm debating saying this in my head. My first My first house is built in 1908. I'll use personal experience. That crappy house Andrew was just talking about a little bit ago. That house was built in 1908. I remember being in there thinking about this, and I'm like, I would be foolish or pretty naive to think that no deaths have ever happened in this house.
I think the same thing about my house.
Like it was built in 1908. Back then, people owned homes for a lot longer. A lot of times the homes were like generational family homes. That's all I'm going to say. If a house is built in 1908, you're not going to think nothing, no death has happened in that house.
Our old house that mom and dad bought before the house they live in now, I'm pretty sure I remember growing up, somebody had died like in the one of the like the master bedroom or whatever. And I swear I would hear weird things at night. My dad said I was just a baby, but I remember he pulled me out of bed one night, like turned all the lights on. He's like, "There's nobody down here." I'm like, "I swear I hear stuff."
On a side note, I highly recommend if you're buying a house that you think has kind of creepy vibes, just get a dog, and then you could convince yourself all the sounds you're hearing are just your dog being stupid. So
or don't update your HVAC, and then you the HVAC.
It's just HVAC. It's like,
Sydney, you have any weird haunting stories that have ever happened to you throughout your life?
No, but I don't like creepy basements, and I don't like being in the dark.
Okay.
Better get used to the creepy basement part.
Yeah, there's so many.
You better get used to the creepy basement part. You better have your mates.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, come. I'm walking down, and I'm like, where are the light switches right now? This is so creepy.
That's the thing about some of these old basements. They'll like put them like 25 feet into that.
Yeah, you have to walk through the whole basement to get to the one cord thing.
Walk through a cobweb to get to the light switch.
I should remember being a kid and then running up the stairs. It's when we turn the basement lights off.
You afraid that someone's going to grab your feet?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're like I said, if you're someone that wants to 100% avoid a death in a house, I mean, you better
new construction.
Buy brand new.
Yeah, brand new is kind of the way to go. Max, I don't know, 1980s or something. You might be able to feel pretty good about it. That's not happening, but there's no way to know. Really. And especially if it wasn't like a malicious thing. If it was just
legally in the state of Iowa, you have to disclose if the property has ever been a burial site too. So,
but you don't have to disclose if there was a murder in the house.
No.
Well, if they ask.
I mean, there was a house in West Des Moines that sat forever, and I just saw the address and saw it was sitting. I'm like, I wonder why this house is on the market forever. This is when like things were selling fast, and it was the house in West Des Moines where there were two different murder episodes or events. And it was like the only murders in West Des Moines happened in this one house, but two different families, two different owners, like over like a 4-year period or something like that. But I think, my cousins told me, he's like, you'd be surprised at how many homes people have died in. Nick Rivas knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That's my
Uncle John's old house.
Yeah. I didn't realize two different events.
Yeah, there was a guy that murdered his soon-to-be ex-wife.
No. Huh? Oh, hell no. Straight up. That's the best way to describe that. Yeah. Oh, hell no. Ugh.
All right, let's do this last topic really quickly, and then hopefully we can keep it somewhat close to an hour. I thought since it was Halloween week, we would just quickly go around and say what we think the scariest thing as being a realtor is. What's the scariest thing that you come across?
Just about our job.
Yep.
Paying bills in January.
I was going to say being rejected. That's really not nice. It scares me.
Getting ghosted.
Yeah.
Getting ghosted, no pun intended. That's good. I was going to say that.
The scariest things, not scary, and this isn't the right word because we literally just had one come across our emails before we got on this, but like inspection as a list agent, inspection addendums.
It's scary.
Or whether or not it ends up being good, like the incoming inspection addendums. The pending inspection addendums are always kind of spooky.
Andrew, what do you got?
I think all three of everything, paying bills in the winter, not having any control over what a buyer's going to offer when you're the list agent, having a deal just disappear. That's happened to us a couple times where we had stuff under contract or minutes away from writing an offer, and something out of our control, sometimes out of our client's control, happens, and then that deal's gone. I mean, I remember 4 years ago, we talk about the glory days a lot. 4 years ago, like as soon as you send an offer, you're like you're buying the stuff you need or want on Amazon, or you're booking trips or whatever it is, because you knew that thing was going to close. And now you don't know if that thing's closing until like you're walking out of the closing with the check in your hand. And so there's that's what's scary, is you think you're going to get paid.
That inspired me, I think, for next week. I hope this is something that I can look up stats wise. I want to know what percentage of contracts are falling out of contract compared to like the few years before, because it seems like it's a lot more. So
For sure.
All right, so Tyler ghosted us. I think that's a good time for us to say thank you to everyone that's watching and say have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
And hey, we'll just tease a little bit. We might have a different setup very soon. Very soon. All right.
We're pumped.
Yeah.
Good week,
All right.
guys.
See ya.